Okay, so it is 12:03. We're going to get started. We've got folks from all across the state and all over the greater Cincinnati area. So we are so excited for all of you guys to join us today for our 2022 program launch of the Business Legacy Fund. My name is Ellen Vera. I'm one of the co-founders of Co-op Cincy, and I help to lead up our transitions program. So with no further ado, I'm going to present our slides so you guys can see all this great stuff we're excited to share with you guys today. So just give me 1 second. Okay, can everybody see that okay? Good, okay, awesome. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're starting off, we just did introductions, but you guys are going to hear today about the succession crisis in Ohio. We'll hear all about kind of a report that's coming out of OEOC and our Ohio Worker Ownership Network. Then you're going to hear about the worker ownership solution to these challenges and what we're doing here in Cincinnati. And then we're going to make sure everybody knows how they can connect and be a part of this and make sure there's plenty of time for Q&A. So if you guys enjoy today. Okay, so we're going to start, like I said, with the problem. So with no further ado, I'm going to introduce Michael from the OEOC, Michael Palmieri, and he's going to tell us a little bit about kind of what's going on in Ohio and why this is really important for us to all take note of. So Michael, take it away. And if you're speaking, we can't hear you. Michael? You there? Oh, are you speaking? We cannot hear you. We might have to call on Chris if it's not going to work. No, we cannot, which is so strange. We heard you before. Do we want to have Chris do it instead? Or, oh, here we go. I see you coming in again. So hopefully that'll work.
Okay, I'm back now. Is it better?
We can hear you now. Yay!
Okay, apologies to everyone. I'm sorry. As Ellen said, I'm Mike Palmieri with the Ohio Employee Ownership Center, where I'm a research assistant and kind of help put together this report. So in the Building Legacies, Retaining Jobs and Creating Wealth Through Employee Ownership report, which is the inaugural report for the Ohio Worker Ownership Network, we looked at 3 of the key economic challenges that Ohio and really the rest of the country is facing. And one of those top challenges is the looming baby boomer succession crisis, which we'll talk more in detail about. Another one is that many workers today are facing precarious employment. So the service industry sector and other sectors are growing quickly, and those are characterized by pretty unstable employment with low wages. And a third important economic challenge is steadily increasing wealth inequality. So we went to look through each one of those in a bit more detail, just to talk about the scope of the baby boomer succession crisis. So we're talking about individuals who are 55 and older, and nearly half of all these business owners plan to retire in the next decade, but 80% actually lack a formal succession plan to do so. This is pretty troubling, knowing that over half of all small businesses are owned by baby boomers. So in Ohio, that number is 54% of businesses, which represents an estimated 94,000 firms who employ around 2.5 million people throughout the state. And as I said before, this is also a nationwide trend. So there's over 2 million businesses like this throughout the country, employing 25 million people, right? So it's really important to be able to provide a way for these business owners who may not have a way to transition that business, whether it be to their children or to find an outside buyer, who may not be aware of this other option to be able to sell to their employees who kind of helped build that business, right? Kind of be able to retain those jobs and those businesses in local communities. And so one thing we really wanted to stress is that throughout all regions of Ohio, this is something that's occurring, right? It's not that there's any one particular area, but it's really something that the entire state itself is facing, which is why we're so excited to be able to have Ohio Worker Ownership Network members in each and every one of these regions throughout the state. But we'll get to more of that later. So another one of those challenges that we talked about was precarious work. So there was a recent study that came out through Brookings that found that half of all workers between 18 and 64 had median annual earnings of only $75,000, right? Which is pretty low, and that really isn't able to have people really live and thrive, right? To have really good employment that provides them the wages they deserve. And this kind of corresponds with that same wage stagnation that we've been hearing about, right, for over the last 4 decades. Like I mentioned before earlier, some of the fastest growing sectors are the service sector, and these jobs in general tend to be much less likely to provide good benefits, and we're also more likely to be hit hardest by COVID-19. Something we outline in the report is that nearly a third of total compensation for employees comes through benefits. And in a lot of these jobs, that 1/3 of total compensation just simply isn't there, which makes it really difficult to build wealth. And that kind of brings us to our third challenge that we found, which was a spike in wealth inequality. And so we see in that top right-hand corner, that's a chart kind of mapping the share of the total amount of income going to the top 1% and the bottom 50%. It's quite a telling chart to kind of show the trajectory that we've been on. And since the 1980s, right, though, wealth inequality has dramatically increased and continues to do so, especially with the impacts of COVID-19. In Ohio, the trend is pretty similar, right? A recent report that came out by Policy Matters Ohio found that from 1973 onward, nearly 86% of all the income gains have gone to the top 1%, while the bottom 90% have actually seen negative income growth. So this kind of contributes to that precarity that so many workers find themselves in today. Another piece that our report notes and that we think is particularly troubling is the wealth and income disparities between white households and Black and Hispanic households. So that wealth disparity on average is about 10 times greater for white households compared to Black and Hispanic households. And we really focus on how and in what ways can we not just lessen that gap, but put us on a trajectory that sustains the lessening of that gap over time and aren't just one hit policy interventions of maybe a certain being able to rise income for 1 year, the policy ends and then it declines, right? Something that's sustainable that can be grown going forward. And so to kind of bring it all together, we really can't emphasize enough how important these local businesses that are owned by baby boomers are to the backbone of the economy, right? They really make up the places that we call home, right? They provide local jobs, local employment, and are just so important to the communities that we all live in. Again, precarious work conditions, they have not just the effect of having unstable employment, but that unstable employment has tons of other effects that kind of cascade down, right? It can be not being able to have health care, which can lead to poor health outcomes. You can be able to just not have a great environment. There might be higher crime rates in areas where there's unemployment rates are extremely high. And so it affects both individuals and the communities at large. And it's the same thing with wealth inequality, right? It's been linked with lower economic growth, but also social cohesion and those health outcomes that I talked about before. And as we all are probably pretty familiar with these days, right? It's also linked with political polarization in many ways, the research finds. So it's kind of a dark, scary picture, right, in a lot of ways. But what we see in these three challenges is also an opportunity, right? And worker ownership provides a solution to many of these problems. Oftentimes, these problems are looked at as as not connected to one another, right? Wealth inequality, precarious work, and succession planning. And what we truly believe as a network is that these three challenges can be dealt with through employee ownership. And so what decades of research around employee ownership show is that workers benefit through better pay, through better benefits, and then also having an equity stake in that company. Businesses who are employee owned are more profitable and productive because they get buy-in from their employees. And employee-owned businesses are also less likely to close during downturns, which is great for the community and then also the workers who work in these companies. And so with that being said, we kind of came together, a group of us, of 10 organizations throughout Ohio, who were working on developing and increasing the number of employee-owned firms, and thought, we're doing great work in our local regions and communities. Can we do even better work and really move the needle to expand the employee ownership sector if we work together, right? And systematically kind of pooled resources to do that. And so we came together, we published this report, we outlined and kind of laid the groundwork for this collaboration. And all 10 of our network members offer either loans, technical support, raising awareness and education. And so we're extremely excited. We have, like I said before, a network member in every region and major metropolitan area in the state. And it's an exciting time. So we can, I guess, leave it there and allow Ellen and Co-op Cincy to dig a little bit deeper into what they're doing in their region.
Thank you so much, Michael. We so appreciate all the work that OEOC has done in this report. We feel like it's so important to bring these issues to light. I think we all know it and feel it, but we feel like this is such a great way to really, hopefully shine a little bit more light and raise awareness across the state about these issues. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So now, in relation to, you guys have kind of seen the what's going on in the field, what's going on around our state. We want to talk about what we're doing here specifically in Cincinnati, which also directly connects to what's also happening in other parts of the state. But we want to make sure you guys really know kind of what we're working on to try to combat these issues on, inequality, on the succession crisis, and all these, different social issues that are happening in our communities. So in 2020, in response to the waiver retiring business owners and the threat caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, we launched the Business Legacy Fund in partnership with the State Commons, which is a multi-million-dollar loan fund that's really about allowing retiring business owners to sell to their employees. And so I want to introduce now our amazing partner of Seed Commons, Kate Khatib, who is co-director, and she's just going to tell you a little bit about Seed Commons and why this makes so much sense. Kate?
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Ellen. And thanks for asking me to be here today to talk about this. Seed Commons, as Ellen said, is a cooperatively governed national CDFI. And what we do is figure out creative ways to put capital into cooperatively owned and employee-owned businesses in a way that makes sense for those businesses. As a national organization, as a lender that works specifically with businesses that are in the process of transitioning to employee ownership, all of the things that you're seeing in Ohio, that you're seeing in Cincinnati, are happening across the country. And one of the things that we've been excited to do as a partner in the Business Legacy Fund is really help Co-op Cincy and the work that they're doing in Cincinnati really provide leadership for the rest of the country. Folks are really looking to this program and taking note of the way that it's unfolding. It's been pretty amazing to see what's been accomplished in the last year. So we're just excited to be able to provide the financing support for this project and to continue partnering to help business owners in Cincinnati transition their businesses to employee ownership.
Thank you so much, Kate. And we so appreciate the partnership. So awesome, super exciting. Okay, so We also want to share with you guys some of the other partners that are part of the Business Legacy Fund. Oops, sorry, let me go back to that. There we go. And especially the programs that we're kind of telling you guys about today. So in addition to partnering with Seed Commons, we also have the Cincinnati Regional Chamber with the Minority Business Accelerator, the Greater Cincinnati Micro Enterprise Initiative, the African American Chamber of Commerce, Xavier Leadership Center, all in Cincinnati, and we have our amazing funders, the Hale Foundation, Greater Cincinnati Foundation, and PNC. And all of this, would not be possible without all of these folks who are coming together to provide wraparound technical assistance, to help with deal flow, to help support due diligence, and to make sure we have the resources to make this all possible. So we want to thank all of our partners and everything you guys are doing to make this happen. And we're so excited to see where this can all go. So thank you guys. So just want to make sure that everyone's kind of clear on who Co-op Cincy is and what our role is in this fund and this program. So we are a nonprofit cooperative business incubator. Our whole purpose is around creating an economy that works for all. We've been around 10 years now, launched our first co-op in 2012, and currently have about 14 networks and growing that are a part of the network. And so we are, the whole kind of role that Co-op Cincy plays is that technical assistance and helping people walk through step by step to get to employee ownership by selling to their workers. We want to tell you guys, since we did launch the fund last year and this program, we want to tell you guys some of our results. We feel like it's been really exciting to see where this has gone in just a year. So here are some of the stats. So we had 126 conversations, over 200 personalized letters and emails. We had 44 in-depth succession planning sessions with local business owners, are really trying to tap into what their goals are, what is the legacy that they want to lead, and is worker ownership the right kind of path for them. From all this work, we had 12 local businesses that applied. And excitingly, you guys are going to hear from one of these businesses today, Shine Nurture Center, which has 12 workers who are going to be transitioning this fall. And in addition to Shine, we had 6 local businesses, including Shine, that with 110 workers who took concrete steps towards worker ownership, who hopefully you guys will be seeing in future presentations as they go through their journey to transition. So with no further ado, I want to introduce the folks from Shine, because there's nothing like hearing from the folks who've been through it themselves. We'll hear from Katie McGoran, who is the owner of Shine, who is selling to her workers, and Beth Haig, who is one of the workers in the business who's going to be taking over. So Katie and Beth, would you guys like to say a few words?
Sure. Yeah, we'd be happy to. Thanks for having us, Ellen. And it's really good to hear from Kate also. We actually talked to the local news this morning, and one of the things we were talking about was how transitioning to an employee-owned business wouldn't be possible without the financing of a fund like Seed Commons and a Business Legacy Fund. So just to reiterate how thankful we are to have this local organization of Co-op Cincy to help us figure out, all the technicalities of transitioning. I first talked to Co-op Cincy about 5 years ago, and our childcare center opened about 6 years ago. So I've been thinking about this from the beginning, but we could never really figure out that final piece of how do we get the funds for the employees to buy the owner out of the business. So that's a huge benefit that we have this year and that we're really thankful for. Just a little bit about Shine. We are a childcare center and preschool in Mount Airy, in sort of the surrounding Cincinnati area. We are right on the forest, Mount Airy Forest, which is a bunch of protected land in Cincinnati. And so we run a nature-based childcare and preschool center here. Like I said, pretty much from the beginning, I knew that I wanted this business to continue regardless of whether I was going to stay involved or not. I originally considered opening Shine as a nonprofit organization that could be run by a board, but after meeting with Co-op Cincy and looking into it a little bit more, I decided that probably the best route would be to make it a democratically owned employee co-op. And really, the reasons for that are kind of simple. I kind of thought that's the best way to run a business like this. If you have highly qualified, trained, professional staff and teachers, then you could be set up for success to have them run that business so that they have the investment in the business, so that they get to help with the planning of the business, they get to help with the visioning of the business. And all of those things help retain employees. And that's a huge, huge problem in the field of childcare. The turnover rate is unbelievable. And the turnover rate really is detrimental to the children in childcare, because then those kids don't have any consistency of care. They're seeing different teachers from week to week and from year to year. And at Shine, we want to keep those teachers around. And this is becoming an employee-owned business is one way that we can do that.
Yeah. And then, hi, I'm Beth. I'm stepping into the role of administrator at Shine, and one of the reasons I was so excited to join Shine, besides its wonderful childcare, was the co-op model. I had learned about it before and thought that was amazing, but I'd never run into a co-op before, or even thought that it could be a part of a childcare business. So it was just like, that would be lovely to work for, but I don't know if that's possible. And then finding out Shine was already in that process was really exciting. I think as a worker, it makes me feel like I have, and it gives me that stake in the company, and like that little bit of a bonus at the end of the year is nice, but mostly it's just really nice to be able to be on the same playing field as far as decision making with all of the other worker owners and feeling like a community in that sense.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Beth and Katie. We so appreciate you guys being a part of the program. We're so excited that we'll be transitioning you guys this fall, and can't wait to stick with you guys in perpetuity as we walk this journey together. So thank you so much. Awesome. Okay. So now we want to just kind of get back to, so we've gone through our first cohort of businesses in our first year. Now we're ready to start that next round. So we want to make sure that everybody on this call is super clear about what we're looking for, how this is an opportunity for any business in the greater Cincinnati area, and make sure that everybody's ready to just go spread the word like wildfire. So here we go. This is what we're looking for in terms of businesses that are a good fit for our transition program. So we are looking for businesses that we have, potentially a retiring owner or an exiting owner who really cares about their legacy, cares about the folks who've helped to build that business and don't want it to disappear. Or it could be a current owner who wants to stick with that business, but really wants to broaden responsibility, wants to bring more folks into running that business, so it's not only on their shoulders. This is not a rescue fund, so it's really important that this is, we're looking for businesses with strong underlying fundamentals. Doesn't have to mean that you are making super profits, but that definitely this is going to be a smart investment for the employees long term who are going to be investing and taking over the business. We also look for low turnover. We want, to see businesses that, have had employees that really know the business, that have been there for a while. And we are really focusing right now on kind of small to medium-sized businesses. So as you can see, this part of our program is really open. Any business that is kind of grappling with, okay, what's the next step? Please let them know and encourage them to apply. So here's the process that we'll kind of take them through just in brief, but we walk hand in hand with these business owners. It's a 6-month cohort process. They apply between now, September 15th and November 15th. Then we pick our group of businesses that we'll be going through by December 15th. And then they start in January, right? Kind of first, second week of January to really start going through step by step, figure out if this is right for them. So we help them explore compatibility, if it meets their goals, financially, the other goals that they have in addition to that. We then assess feasibility. Does this, is this feasible on a financial, on an operational, on a structural basis? If that's all looking good, then we help them actually craft that plan, that kind of business plan, that transition plan about how they're going to make this transition happen. And then once that is all clear, then we actually put that capital stack together to help them sell to the workers. There is a buy-in from workers, but we try to make sure that that is not prohibitive. We know that we've got folks coming from all different walks of life. And so we can even, finance kind of the investment that the workers are doing. And that amount is decided by the workers themselves. So please don't let that be something that stops folks from coming and applying to the plan or to the fund. And then once that deal has happened, we then, like I said, kind of continue to work with that business for the long haul to really create that culture of worker ownership, because we know that in many ways is where the hard part starts, but that these workers are not alone. They're part of a whole network, and we're there to work with them step by step. So, excitingly for the businesses that get into this program, we will provide up to $20,000 worth of free technical assistance. Again, that's those assessments of compatibility and feasibility, helping them put together that plan, that business plan, that transition plan, helping them devise their bylaws and their governance structure. They will be first in line to financing through the Business Legacy Fund. And then we will also begin doing all that work on financial literacy, business literacy, open book management, workplace communication, and other key skills. So again, we want to make sure you guys get the word out, far and wide, but applications are open today for any business who is interested in exploring this. And they will be open until November 15th to start with the 2022 program. And they can go to the businesslegacyfund.org to apply. It's also can be found, through the Co-op/Cincy website as well. Now we're going to tell you guys about some really exciting new pieces that we're adding to our program this year. And I'm excited to introduce our new acquisitions manager, Chris Bennett, who's going to tell you all about this really exciting kind of new part of the Business Legacy Fund.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. So wonderful to have everyone here. So we've heard and bit off a lot. We've talked a little bit about the problem. We stepped through how Co-op/Cincy is addressing the problem to create an economy for all. And what we learned last year is that there's still a huge opportunity to be far more proactive in acquiring businesses to create an economy that works for all. And so as we were learning, not only through the past 10 years of transitioning businesses, but our first year with the Big Business Legacy Fund, we thought, what if we could be far more intentional about industry, about size, and about impact as it relates to what it would look like for the families touched in these businesses? And so we made a decision to move forward with that intentionality. So as shared, I'm Chris Bennett. I'm the new BLF Acquisition Fund Manager, and my primary responsibility is to do two things. Number one, help us find those strategic partnerships or acquisitions. And number two, help develop leaders who will help us lead those companies into worker ownership. I say that with excitement because one of the big learns from our year one experience was when we would talk to many of these small and mid-market companies, one of the challenges that many of these owners had was, hey, if I were to lift myself up out of the business, there will still be leadership needs in the business that at this particular time, I may not have someone who can step in and provide that type of leadership or play that role. And so with that insight, we developed a professional general management program where we would identify individuals who have prerequisite skills and experience and help them search for companies that will be a good fit that will help us continue to accelerate our goal of creating, once again, an economy that works for all. What we are looking for, as we're being far more strategic in targets, are number one, businesses with revenues north of $1 million. Number two, we are looking for businesses that have at least $250,000 of what we would call free cash flow. Some use seller discretionary income, but we wanted to have a little bit of meat on the bone for us to do some of the things that are mentioned ahead previously in our presentation in terms of ensuring phenomenal phenomenal benefits for the workers in a particular business, and also having some gasoline in the tank to grow in the future. And last but certainly not least, we're also looking at opportunities that have at least 10 employees in that business. We want to be strategic in terms of the size. We want to be strategic in terms of the free cash flow. And we want to be strategic in terms of the families touched within the strategy. You can go to the next slide, Ellen. So without further ado, as I mentioned before, one of the key components of our new extension of our existing transition strategy is to partner with amazing leaders, given their prerequisite experience and talents, to go out and find businesses that fit that particular acquisition profile. What you see before you is a sample of the individuals in our program, and to really give you some meat, give you an experience of what one of our cohort members look like in terms of experience and also passion. I would love to introduce you to Uche. Uche has been so phenomenal to join us on this call. You see a little bit about his background, but you will fully get to know him as he says a few words. Uche, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Chris. Good morning, all. Can you hear me?
You're good.
All right. Yeah. My name is Uche Agomo. I'm excited to be part of this program. And one of the things that really drove me into this is two things. I have vast industry experience, as you can see, with both GE and Procter & Gamble globally. And I've acquired so much experience worldwide that I think I need to, for legacy's sake, be able to transfer that, to organizations. And what a better way to do it than to do it with, say, Co-op Cincinnati, because of their vision and their strategic move to make sure that they uplift and bring small businesses and close the gap, as mentioned earlier during the presentation. My entire goal is to be able to come in, develop high-performing work systems, develop capabilities, and create a culture, because it's not easy. There are unknowns when you're trying to shift leadership, any change. But bringing all the tools and methodologies from these good companies that I've worked with, I think we'll be able to do that. Secondly, I've always had passion in terms of, running and owning a manufacturing business. That has been my bread and butter, from GE to P&G to my consulting firm. We've dealt with manufacturing folks. And I want to translate that into this program. I'm excited, and I think it's a good thing, and I look forward to really making this happen. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Uche. And you have a beautiful picture. I'm like, better than mine. I should have started out with you. So, in review, before we really wrap up and we get to the best part of our call, which is Q&A, just want to walk you again through what are we doing while we're doing it. There's an amazing opportunity that's currently occurring across the country. With that opportunity, Co-op Sensei, along with its partners in the state, see a phenomenal opportunity to start to create greater wealth building opportunities for workers that work in these businesses. And in order to do that, we have two big, broad strategies. Number one, we are working with new startups to grow the cooperative spirit, concepts, governance, but we're also acquiring and transitioning existing companies to be able to do the same. How can you get involved? Please, if you are a business, let us know what your interests are. If you're interested, if you'd like to learn more, please reach out. At this particular stage, do not self-select yourself out. If you have an inkling to be interested in transforming the world this way, please reach out to us. In October, we will have an information session where we can talk more specifically about what next steps looks like. But November 15th is when we would love for you to reach out to us formally through our Business Legacy Fund link. And I'm looking forward to the amazing applications that will come. Second, we are looking to our network of colleagues and supporters, and we span the gamut. We're talking nonprofit organizations, for-profit organizations, any institution or individuals who could see themselves being positioned to help change the world this way. Please spread the word. Please feel free to email us to let us know if you have any ideas in terms of any potential deals that may be on the horizon, or any potential individuals that'll be good for us to speak to, given the vision we've articulated. Last but certainly not least, if you're even willing to invest in helping the transition of these businesses, please reach out to us and let us know. And number three, our wonderful friends in the media, please help us also spread the word. We will be so willing to make ourselves available for interviews, and we also have a media packet that we are ready and willing to share. Next slide. All right, my favorite part of the meeting, Q&A. As I close with a few more comments, please remember, for businesses, applications are due November 15th. We are looking for individuals who can apply as businesses. We're looking for individuals who just want to figure out a way to support the effort. We're also looking for individuals who will help us get the word out. Please feel free to follow the link that's listed or called out below, and you can reach out to us at any time with any questions. I will be quiet because, like I said, I want to get to Q&A. Ellen, I'll pass it back to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. Yeah, so here's time for anybody on the call. If you have any questions on, what we're looking for, or for anybody who's spoken today, this is your time to shine. So any questions? Or comments?
I will say, I'm not shy to call folks out. I know too many of these beautiful faces on the call now.
It looks like
Ellen?
Eric.
Yeah, if I could, I just wanted to just say one thing about how great it is to work with you and with Christopher. I really admire your leadership style and how inclusive you are and how you try and bring people together. And I think that speaks well, not only about you, but also about the success that this effort will have. And so just from the African American Chamber standpoint, I wanted to say we're very excited to work with you and really appreciate your approach to all of this. And then Christopher, I just want to say he has amazing energy, great insights, and is really a great mind. And so I'm very happy that he's involved and that the two of you are working together. So great things ahead. Uche, I don't want to leave you out, but you're great as well. But I just wanted to raise up Ellen and Christopher.
Thank you so much, Eric. We really appreciate it. We're so glad you guys are a part of the team. Anything else anybody wants to say, or any questions?
We have questions opening up in the chat. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah.
Someone came off mute. I want that person to speak. Go ahead.
That might be me. Hey, everybody. I'm Jonathan Welly up here with Cleveland Owns. Thanks so much for bringing us together. This is a great event. So excited to be part of this. A question about, just the logistics, I guess. So there are a bunch of partners in the network, many of whom provide similar services, which is funding, which is consulting as folks move from the transition from traditional to worker ownership. How does the fund, so when you get an application, how do you decide kind of which partner jumps in? How do you collaborate on supporting applications as they come through? How's that pipeline work?
Yeah, so I mean, this is something that we're building out that's going to grow across the state, which I think is really, exciting. Right now, there are specifically funds, in the greater Cincinnati area. So, we kind of have, you could probably see that map, but we definitely work kind of with all of the kind of surrounding counties, but also into Northern Kentucky and Indiana. So it doesn't just have to be in Ohio. Co-op Dayton also is a part of Seed Commons, and they are also working on transitions, have access to the same fund. And then there's the Fund for Employee Ownership up in Cleveland as well, as you guys know well. So those are definitely the kind of 3 funds right now that are working within Ohio. I know we have other partners who would love to kind of bring those online as well. And I know that there'll probably be some conversations later for Kate on some of those things. But yeah, so I mean, I think, we kind of know kind of within each counties that we work in. And so that's kind of where we try to direct, when people apply. But, this application period is directly right now is specifically for the greater Cincinnati area. But we do support each other across each of part of the state. So we have folks, from OEOC that have been, working on our transition work. We've been working with Dayton on their transition work. So there's a lot of kind of overlap in trying to really kind of bring everybody's kind of capabilities and capacity up to do all of this work and try to help as many businesses as possible. Thanks for that question, Jonathan. And I see that OC asked, what costs would the selling business incur for the work with Co-op Cincy? So for the ones that get selected for the program, all of the technical assistance piece is free. So we donate that time. They do have to pay for any, if they want to get an outside valuation, they have to pay for, any of those professionals, for any legal work, any accounting work they might need, those things that they do have to pay for. And then obviously the value of the business when that, gets determined, that is, something that needs to get financed and paid.
I'll just add before you go on. So to simplify, the typical cost that an owner would consider in selling their business, they would need to consider for working with us. However, any additional value we add would not be additional cost to them. And depending on how good the deal is, we could work on some of those other things. So hopefully that answers your question.
Great.
All right. Number 2.
Yes, go for it.
All right. Number 2. And you may have already hit this one. What are the geographic limits of the greater Cincinnati area?
Yeah, so I mean, essentially, I was saying that we work within all of the surrounding counties. So essentially, it's kind of whatever. So in order for us to have access to this fund and to provide these loan dollars, it's all kind of interpersonal kind of relationship lending. So it's not based on people's credit scores. It's not based off of anything that individual is based on the track record of the company. But we have to be able to provide that ongoing technical assistance and really work with them to help them be successful. So we are currently working kind of within an area that we can drive, I would say within an hour and a half max, is kind of what we're looking at right now. But yeah, that's kind of, I would say, our geographic area. So like I said, even into Indiana, Kentucky are all, fair game.
Fair game. I missed the question. I want to go back to it. What can we do to support this effort among minorities?
I'm gonna let you take that one, Chris.
I absolutely will. I was going to take it from you. One of the things I want to call to everyone's attention is if we were to go back to the slide where we kind of show briefly the faces of the individuals in our professional manager program, you will see that they're either women or people of color. We acknowledge and know that there's a dearth of talent within underrepresented communities, and we're providing an opportunity for that talent to get an opportunity to develop and grow, whether it's managing a P&L from front to end, having an experience of developing a team of 5, 7, 10, 12 people, and also having an opportunity to learn from the catbird seat, as they would say, in the CEO suite. So if you are looking for opportunities to help us penetrate underserved groups, number one, make them aware of our professional management program. This is something that with people with the prerequisite experience would be a great fit. Number 2, there are underrepresented groups who own businesses as well. The doors are open for them as well. And so as they think through succession, please send them our way. And I guess number 3, as we think about the investor piece, this is also an opportunity for you to do good and do well at the same time. So as we continue to develop what that PPM looks like, we definitely want to have an opportunity open to have inclusive investment as well.
Awesome. And that leads right into our next question from Steve, which is what are the best ways for individuals and institutions to invest?
more to come. I would say very briefly, more to come. So one of the things we see as an additional opportunity is we have this phenomenal relationship with Seeds Commons. And as a part of their, I guess, edict or mission is to jumpstart a community to invest in the businesses that are their service locally. And so we want to take advantage of that. So as we piece together capital stacks for the businesses that we're going to acquire as a part of the network, we want to leave a piece of the deals for local supporters to be a part of that as well, to not only be patrons of a business, but also be financial supporters of the business. And so as we continue to bring in appropriate deals that fit the right profile for such an opportunity, we absolutely want to be connected to a network of individuals who are interested in impact investing, whether they be individuals or institutions.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. So Kedra asked a great question. What work is being done at the city and state level to make Cincinnati and Ohio a more enabling environment for cooperatives? I want to see if anybody from the Ohio Worker Ownership Network wants to respond to this. I'm happy to take it, but I feel like we've all been working on this together. So does anybody from OEOC or anyone from the Ohio Worker Ownership Network want to respond to that question?
Oh, and this is Chris.
Yeah.
From the OEOC, the other Chris. I think we're doing a bunch of different things. You know, as a network, one of the goals that we have is to kind of advocate at the state and also local level, you know, around the state, which is why we're kind of looking at how we can expand and get into every region and every major metro area, as Mike mentioned earlier. There's a couple opportunities coming down the pike with some funding, some federal funding that's getting sent through the states that we could possibly get them to direct towards worker cooperative development, but also just employee ownership development as well. And I think one of our goals as a network is to utilize the power of all of us, right, to advocate, you know, at that level. So I don't think that any of us are truly happy with the level of state and local support for the development of cooperatives, but there are a lot of models throughout the U.S. Where that's happened, and so you know, we're on that road, if that makes sense. You know, I don't think any of us would say that we're where we want to be, right? But we're certainly working to develop that kind of not just a push in doing the technical assistance and the actual you know, boots on the ground kind of work, but also do the advocacy work. And together, I think our voices are going to be stronger, bigger, louder, and we intend on being loud and you know, and making the case going forward. So.
Awesome.
And I must add, for the sake of our cohort, that phenomenal question, it kind of came from one of our phenomenal project managers. I mean, I just had to say that, you know. Way to go. Great question, Keith.
Hi, everyone.
Hey. Any other questions? Okay. Well, we thank you guys all so much for joining us today. We hope you can all spread this, you know, the word out to your networks. We are really excited to work with another great group of businesses this year. Obviously, you guys have met our amazing your professional managers that are ready and waiting on, you know, on the bench to help make these transitions happening. And you know, and we're super excited about the ones that are going to be happening this year. And just, I think Cynthia is going to maybe make a little announcement about some other opportunities to support in case, or you know, other kind of opportunities we have to support other businesses real fast here at the end. But please don't hesitate to reach out if people have questions, or even just like you know, or if you're interested, maybe like, would this business fit? We're happy to have those conversations. So Cynthia, if you want to talk about the symposium and power numbers real fast. I put you on the spot, I know. So if not, I can do it, but. Okay, I'll do it. So just, you know, some other.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't realize I was on mute.
No problem.
Okay, I'm Cynthia Pinchback-Hines. I'm the racial justice educator and co-op developer at Co-op Cincy. And the program that I'm most associated with is Power in Numbers, Black Co-op U. This is an intensive 14-week training program, again, for businesses that are launching. Well, the idea is that they will already be in business, but they're maybe, struggling, need a little bit of help, or perhaps if they're early in their business. And what we want to do is support them with the training. So for 14 weeks, we meet every Tuesday from 6 to 8 p.m. We're going to start our second cohort October 5th. We have applications that are due on September 25th. You can find those applications online. In fact, I can put in the chat, the information, a little bit of information for you for that. And what we're looking for, again, are companies that have to have at least an understanding of a cooperative. What is a cooperative? What it's about? Some curiosity around it, some education around it already. But then also we need businesses that have at least 3 individuals who work in the business. So the idea is that it is a cooperative. We had a number of applications where people are starting businesses and they're solo. We need, more than that. So we'd appreciate your reaching out to your contacts and sharing the information. And again, I'm trying to put this in the chat for you. I think the best thing to do is really give you the website, and that way you can just go there and you will be able to find through our search Power in Numbers Black Co-op U as well. One of the things that you also need to know about is the annual symposium that we have. It's our annual union symposium that's being held this year on November 12th and 13th. This is where we have co-ops from all over the country, really even globally, that visit us. They learn more about, the cooperative world. We also share experiences. This is where, let's say, even people who don't know but have curiosity, again, about co-ops, they will come and learn. And from this particular event, we have actually just attracted so many people who have started their own co-ops as a result of it, that we now have gone from, the time when we were in a small room to now we, can hardly even hold people in the spaces. And one of the reasons why this year we're going to have both virtual and on-site say contact is because of COVID, of course. And so we're looking forward to having people apply through our website once more, where you'll see on the first page, the home page, information that will tie you into the National Symposium. And I think that's about it. So if there are questions for me, you may contact me at Co-op Cincy as well. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Hopefully, those of you who are on this call will be able to help us out that way. We're so excited about all of the possibilities and looking forward to more people joining. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. Thanks everybody again. If the folks from the statewide network are able to stay on for just a few minutes, we were just going to go over a little bit of how to push the report out. But everybody else, we so appreciate your time. You can have 4 minutes back to your hour, and we'll be in touch soon with all the ways we can make this really powerful. So thank you guys.